Hey, it's Mike from 424recording.com. In today's video, we're going to talk why you should always record in a real studio. So this is the second part of a two-part series on recording in real studios. The first part was why you should never record in a real studio, and this part is why you should always record in a real studio. I'm trying to cover both sides of the same coin to give you guys some ideas and to push the conversation as to what is a real studio today. I guess when I'm talking real studio, I'm thinking professional studio. A lot of places where the rooms are treated, they have a high overhead, they have a lot of vintage equipment. When you're paying an engineer to record you, it's by the hour or by the day. An official studio, like a real studio. The memory alone of recording in a real studio is worth the price of admission in my mind, as long as everybody's on the same page and know what the expectations of the session are. How much will it cost? What should you expect? How many tracks are you going to do? If you can find somebody who charges by the day and not by the hour, you've probably found an engineer who's reasonable. If you have the chance to record with an engineer who you respect or whose work you enjoy in the past, it's going to be an amazing learning experience, and no matter how much money you spend, within reason, you could look at it as being sort of a master class by an engineer whose talents you admire. Who wouldn't want to go to a real studio and record with Steve Albini, for instance? I know I would, and I would soak up everything that was going on and soak up techniques and mic placements and just be a fly on the wall. If you think of it as a week-long or weekend-long learning experience, you'll get a lot out of it. You'll be like a sponge absorbing all this information, and it'll be a hands-on learning experience that you'll probably remember forever. You'll probably also discover some shortcuts in your own workflow when you bring the ideas back to your home studio. You can focus on your art. With an engineer or somebody who's recording you in a real studio, it gives you an opportunity to just focus on your art, which is a big deal if all the knobs and everything makes your head just want to explode when you're recording. When you have somebody who's talented that's running the gear, all you have to do is worry about your performance, which is not something that should be taken lightly, because you're trying to do something more serious, or you're recording something for vinyl, or if you're recording anything to be released perhaps, or if you're recording something that needs to be on a specific format, just having somebody who's talented to just focus on their job will allow you to focus on your job. Because on home studios and recording by yourself in your bedroom, you're wearing a lot of different hats, and you got to jump from engineer to producer to guy who's fixing the equipment to guy who's performing, guy who's singing, guy who's playing drums, guy who's playing guitar, or girl. So, that's something you need to think about is it worth it for you for the headache and to save the time to not do it yourself and to pay somebody else to do it for you? It's a good question to ask yourself, and one I'm often remind myself of when I'm losing my mind trying to record something at home. You just got to make sure whoever you choose to work with is somebody who's on the same level and page as you, or on a higher level, because you can't be getting held up by technical difficulties at that point or personal difficulties at that point, because there's a lot at stake. Basically, things will go a lot sooner when everybody's got their own job. For me, when I've gone to a real studio, the best experiences are always a fully immersive experience. It kind of sounds like a theme park ride, but I think it works here. Somewhere where you can go and be secluded. For me, I found when I do things like in a long block of time, that's all I have to focus on, that's when the best stuff I think I've ever done really comes out, because you can really relax into your role, shut off your phone, shut off the computer, go off the grid as it were, and just focus on your art. I think things come out better when you spend like a specific block of time working on them, and with a certain vibe, it puts you in a certain mood, and it gets you into a rhythm that is unbeatable. When you're doing stuff at home, there's the laundry going off, there's people walking by outside, there's your dog that needs something, or your partner or somebody needs something from you, or you got kids running around, or etc. There's always distractions at home, but being able to go to a real studio to record, focus on your art, have somebody else there to record you is invaluable. And of course, the engineer has all the equipment and their own space, and you just got to show up, focus on doing what you want to do. You can't really beat the feeling of working in a real studio. You want to record on some kind of type of expensive or unique equipment that you don't have, or can't rent, or can't front the cash for, or don't want to own but want to test out. Chances are this type of equipment will add some kind of vibe or give you access to something that you wouldn't normally have access to. You probably have a clear vision of what you want to do or what you want to try. For instance, 2-inch tape machines are hard to maintain and can break down, and you really need to have somebody who knows how to run them. The prospect of buying your own for thousands of dollars and keeping it somewhere and, keeping it climate controlled and keeping it maintained is, unless you really have a love for doing that, it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of money, and a money pit. But if you just have somebody who has a 2-inch tape machine and has tape, and you can go and record, and you'll pay them for the tape and you'll pay them to run the machine, then hey, that would seem like a great way to record. If you wanted to just have an old school type vibe and, do some basement tapes somewhere, that would be awesome. It would definitely be worth it, because to be able to do that yourself would take probably years of practice and know how to run and maintain those type of machines, let alone worrying about parts and things that may not exist anymore. It's a dying art form that is going to be a hard one to break into unless you got a lot of time and a lot of money on your hands. And also, maybe an engineer just has a style that you think will complement your vision for your music, and that's always a great reason to work with somebody and to pay somebody to work with them, because maybe they have access to equipment or ideas that will take your stuff even further, and that's always a great reason to work with somebody, even if you have to pay them. I think in the end, just know what your expectations are for sessions in a real studio. Make sure everybody's on the same page, make sure the money thing is agreed upon before, and make sure your days are scheduled out, etc. And just understand what the ROI or return on your investment is going to be. If you're just the band kicking it around town and you're going to spend a few thousand to record, that's probably just going to be for you or for your limited amount of fans, which is fine if that's what you want to do. That's awesome. I would say more power to you. I think the best things to spend money on in this world are experiences, because those are the things you're going to remember. And it really just comes down to what you value for your time and your money and where you are in your own financial state. This is Mike from 424recording.com. Godspeed, my friend. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this 2-part series. If you haven't watched the other part on why you should never record in a real studio, check it out. It's linked in the description below. What are your experiences in a real studio? Have I left anything out? Do you have any ideas to take the conversation further? Let us know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. I hope this was an inspiring and thought-provoking series of rants on real studios and engineers, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it. So let me know. Yeah, let me know. Peace.